First tonight, Daniel Morcombe's parents have revealed their anguish at discovering their son's gone for good. Bruce and Denise say the DNA confirmation of bones from the search site has left them feeling numb. Reporter Alexia Osborne was with them this afternoon.
For Bruce and Denise Morcombe, it's a moment almost 8 years in the making.
Just wanted to say thank you to everyone for sharing our journey and never giving up on finding Daniel. But I feel that Daniel is your son as well.
With police yesterday confirming 3 human bones discovered at the Biwa search site at Daniels, today the Morcombe spoke of how they're dealing with finally finding their son.
It's something like waiting for the sledgehammer to hit you, but when it does come, it's still a shock.
It's the reality for all of us, the finality of it.
For Daniel's twin Bradley and older brother Dean, the past few weeks have been trying.
Just watching the boys' faces was heartbreaking, really.
Today highlighting 7 years and 9 months of missed milestones.
Today is the 8th birthday that I'll have without Daniel, and this Sunday is the 8th Father's Day we'll have without Daniel.
Loved ones flocked to the Morcombe's Palmwoods home yesterday, offering condolences. The family admit they've barely had time to think about a funeral for Daniel. The day of his disappearance, December 7, could be the earliest possible date. But if it takes longer than that, they're willing to wait. By their side today, as he has been for every major development, Queensland's top police officer.
I feel quite proud and privileged to be associated with Bruce and Denise, and I'm grateful for that.
The Morcombes struggle for the word, but say their feeling tonight is not so much one of closure, but relief. Alexia Osborne, Win News.
The DNA confirmation is a major achievement, particularly as work at the primary site stalled again today. Due to bad weather, the painstaking search has been interrupted on and off for a full week now. Reporter Sarah Owens has the latest on the investigation.
It's the largest ongoing investigation in Queensland's history, with one result police were working for.
It's the answer. It's a very sad answer, but it's the answer.
7 years and 9 months after Daniel vanished, yesterday it was official. The 13-year-old was dead.
I think for all of us in the police department it's enormously significant.
And the people of the Sunshine Coast agree.
I think the police have done an excellent job and they should be commended for it.
I think the whole situation has been hard on everybody, but I think the police have done their utmost, yeah.
Commissioner Atkinson breaking the news. Confirmation DNA testing had resulted in 3 bones discovered a week ago as Daniel's.
The result that we got came from the laboratory in Adelaide.
The bones were found 10 metres from a pair of shoes that are yet to be tested.
We still anticipate that this is going to take a number of weeks at the very least.
This white Mitsubishi, believed to have been sitting in the yard of a Russell Island home for 5 years, also being forensically investigated.
We can confirm that a vehicle has been seized and it is being considered as part of the investigation process. Beyond that, I'm not able to make any further comment.
The search here at Biwa has been suspended on and off for the past week. Police halted activity last Monday when rain made the already swampy site unworkable. Police are guarding the location and the search will resume when weather permits.
We're not going to walk away from that search until we have exhausted absolutely every area of search that we can do.
Sarah Owens, Win News.
For almost 8 years, the community has watched and waited whilst police stayed diligent, a family hoped against hope, and the media documented every turn. Simon Ward looks back across those years.
December 8, 2003, the day after Daniel Morcombe was last seen, news of his disappearance hit our screens.
Daniel James Morcombe left home around 1:30 yesterday, bound for Maroochydore. He never made it, never returned home.
Just seems to be a normal 13-year-old boy that went from home to get a haircut and he hasn't arrived.
In those crucial first days, the search and the story grew.
What happened to the boy, police don't know, but there are now fears of suspicious circumstances.
Our investigations lead us to believe that he's not a person that would run away from home, so the conclusion is that something might have happened to him.
Days later, the Morcombe's first public plea, the first of many.
Just a blur.
It's his birthday in 10 days' time. I just can't work out.
It doesn't matter if you think something you saw or heard is insignificant. We plead for you to please come forward.
Overwhelming support and emotion, including from Daniel's schoolmates.
He's just one of the nicest guys in our grade. I hope that they find him, and I just want it to end.
January 2005, Bruce and Denise launched the Daniel Morcombe Foundation, spawning annual events like Dance and Walk for Daniel.
His brothers and father surrounded by dozens of friends and locals on the first walk for Daniel.
In 2009, a massive offer.
And today we're announcing $1 million reward for anyone who can come forward with any kind of information.
2 years later, the coronial inquest the Morcombes had pushed for.
He's been waiting for this day for several years, and now that it's finally arrived, he's ready to hear the truth.
A little apprehensive, but you know, it's a day we've sort of worked towards over a number of years.
After all those years, come this month, new developments every week. Police charging Brett Peter Cowan with Daniel's murder. The search in Biwa swampland began, and just 8 days later, Daniel Morcombe was finally found. Simon Ward, Win News.
The man standing accused of Daniel Morcombe's murder is not due to reappear in court until late September. While a plea is yet to be entered, the lawyer for Brett Peter Cowan last night reaffirmed his client will be pleading not guilty. Cowan has not applied for bail and remains in custody, charged with 5 offences, including murder and child stealing.
It's important to recognise that the person charged is entitled to the presumption of innocence, and the matter is now before the courts.
Brett Peter Cowan will reappear on September 26. The Sunshine Coast community, having shared in the hopes and fears of the Morcombe family, was today coping with the reality Daniel's been found. Reporter Lauren Ritchie speaks with some of those trying hardest to deal with their grief.
Kim Cook was Daniel's former house teacher, his school mum. The news for her was shattering.
I sort of sat down on the lounge room floor last night when the news came through on the TV, and I felt sick. I cannot even begin to imagine what they've gone through.
The last time she saw Daniel was his final day of grade 8.
My last memory is saying goodbye to them all and wishing them a Merry Christmas and saying have a happy and really safe holiday, but it didn't happen.
Sienna College, Daniel's school, will never forget.
But a school is very much part of a child's life, and we were part of Daniel's.
Even complete strangers came to mourn. Right throughout today, there's been a continuous stream of locals stopping to pay respect, to grieve the boy they considered their own. The reality sinking in, he's never coming home.
It's been a terribly long time waiting for closure in this.
You really feel for the parents of the little fella, but it's good for him now to sort of try and move on and get a bit of closure.
This is it's been a long time coming. Certainly I feel for the Morcombes.
The abduction site, come memorial, come shrine, continues to grow with outpourings of sadness. Now, a place to say goodbye. Lauren Ritchie, Win News.
The Morcombe family has vowed to continue the work of the Daniel Morcombe Foundation. Bruce and Denise Morcombe will head north next week to visit a series of schools all the way up the coast from Brisbane to Cairns, promoting their message of child safety and awareness. Community forums are also planned along the way, where members of the public and government representatives are invited to attend. The foundation has continued to receive an influx of community support, with more than 100,000 people now friends on its Facebook page.